Well, hello and welcome to Studio Classroom on the Air. We are so glad that you are here. My name is Gabe.
And I'm Anne-Marie. It's finally wintertime, and it's my first full winter living in Taipei. You know, I really had no idea that it got chilly here in Taiwan. I lived in southern Taiwan for 5 years, and I barely even needed a jacket most of the time.
You know, it can get cold here during the winter months. Hey, let's talk for a minute about how we keep warm in the winter.
Oh, good idea. One thing my family did last winter when it was so cold in January and February is we all slept in the same room. We turned the space heater on really high, and we bought rugs to put on our floor. Because we have tile floors in our house, it kept our feet from getting too cold on those tile floors. Well, what do you do, Gabe?
You know what? Those space heaters really do come in handy. We have wooden floors, so I'm very thankful for that because that does retain the heat a little bit. I also use hand warmers sometimes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, they're kind of like little packets that you can put in your pocket or your gloves.
Exactly. You just go buy a bunch of them at the convenience store, and you know, sometimes I like to put them just on the back of my neck. Because if you keep your neck warm, that can help the rest of your body feel warm as well. Oh, and I recently bought some slippers, those nice, big, fluffy, comfortable slippers. Those are really warm in the winter.
Oh, that is a great idea. And that brings us to a new way to keep warm that is introduced in our lesson today. We are going to be talking all about heated clothing. I hope you're ready to learn something new, friends. I know I am.
So let's do that together.
Heated clothing. Survive in the cold by keeping your body warm. The holiday song, Let It Snow, opens with a warning. The weather outside is frightful. The weather does promise to be frightful at times during the long winter months. Our body's natural warmth isn't enough to protect us against winter's coldest weather. In spite of the colds, though, there are times when we will be outside. Whether walking, playing, or working, we need protection against the harsh cold. An important question is, how do we keep our bodies warm in the dead of winter?
Hi everyone, welcome to Language Lab. I'm Jack. 我们先来看 warning， 它是动词 warn 的现在分词，当名词用，意思是警告。譬如 Ray didn't listen to his mother's warning about the cold weather and only wore a light jacket when he went out. Ray 没听妈妈警告他天气很冷，只穿一件薄夹克出去。或者是The owners of the land posted a warning about no hunting on their private property. 这些地主放了一个禁止狩猎的警告标示在他们的私人土地上。来看动词 warn 的例句。I suggest that you warn Betty about how many extra hours she'll have to work every week if she takes that job. 我建议你去警告 Betty， 如果呢她接那份工作，得注意每周要加班多少小时。接着来看 protection 这个名词，意思是防护或是保护。比如 Take my umbrella as protection against the rain that is coming within the hour. 1小时之内就要下雨了，拿我的雨伞去挡雨吧。或者是 Zip up your coat so you have some protection against the cold wind. 把外套拉链拉起来，你才能挡住冷风。再举个例句 For protection against getting burned, you should stay out of the sun in the middle of the day. 为了防止晒伤，别在日正当中晒太阳。Okay, let's get back to our teachers.
Thank you so much, Jack. All right, friends, let's get into talking about heated clothing today. It is December, and maybe where you live, it is cold right now. Let's find out about some ways to keep ourselves warm. Survive in the cold by keeping your body warm. The holiday song Let It Snow opens with a warning. The weather outside is frightful.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire's so delightful. Right?
Yeah, that's it. You know, we had a couple lessons this month where there was songs involved, don't we?
I thought you were going to start singing along with me, Anne-Marie. No, not today?
Not today.
Not today. But yeah, you're right. You know, this month's articles, maybe it has to do with the time of year, right? We have a lot of references to Christmas songs, as we'll find out later this month as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of times in December, a lot of people are thinking about the holidays, and we just have that warm feeling that comes with being around friends and family. Let It Snow is a very popular song. All right, reading on here. The weather does promise to be frightful at times during the long winter months. Okay, let's take a minute to look at that phrase, promise to be.
Usually promises are good things, right? You promised me, so you should keep your promise. And usually you promise somebody else something good that you will do, right? Well, our lesson uses the word promise in kind of a different way, because really this word can be neutral. It's something, the weather might promise something, and it might be bad.
And it's just saying that the weather probably is going to be harsh, frightful at times. We'll look at that word harsh here in a minute. But we've seen the word frightful a few times already. It's not that we're going to be afraid of the weather exactly, is it?
Could be. It could be. It could be, because that word frightful is related to the word frightening. It could be similar, right? If something is frightening, that means you really might be scared of it or afraid of it. You might watch a frightening movie, right? Where you're scared about at different parts in the movie. So if something is frightful, it could be something that is uncertain. You're not sure what's going to happen with the weather. If it's frightful weather, it could be good one minute and then really bad the next minute.
Well, we read on here, our body's natural warmth isn't enough to protect us against winter's coldest weather. In spite of the cold, though, there are times when we will be outside. Sometimes it's just unavoidable, isn't it?
Anne-Marie, we both got kids. Mm-hmm. Kids need to have some time outdoors, right?
That's true, for exercise or just for getting some fresh air.
Exactly. They just can't stay inside all day. So that's what I think of when I read this sentence. I also saw that phrase at the beginning of the sentence, in spite of. We often use a related word. It means the same thing, and that is despite. We could say, despite the cold, there are times when we will be outside. You could use these phrases to talk about other situations too. Despite the terrible weather, we still had a great time.
That's a great point. Whether walking, playing, or working, we need protection against the harsh cold. Okay, there's that word harsh, and we can use this word in a few different ways. Here it's used to talk about how we feel when it's this cold outside.
That's right, because harsh means really unpleasant, okay? It could refer to extreme weather. Earlier you saw the adjective frightful, right? Well, frightful weather is harsh weather. But you said we could use this word to talk about other things?
Yeah, sometimes I hear this word in reference to somebody's words.
Okay.
His words towards me were pretty harsh.
Oh, man. Yeah, you want to make sure that you have kind words, friends. But back to weather, sometimes we experience harsh temperatures, right? Here you see this picture of something in the dead of winter. We see an important question to how we keep our bodies warm is how we keep our bodies warm in the dead of winter. That means the coldest part of winter.
And there are a few conditions that you can get when you spend time out in the dead of winter. We're going to learn about those right now in today's Info Cloud.
Welcome to Info Cloud. Today, we'd like to talk about frostbite and hypothermia.
Frostbite and hypothermia? I'm getting cold just thinking about those words. Now, have you ever been so cold that it feels like your fingers or toes are frozen like ice cubes?
Nope. But growing up in Canada, I'm going to guess that you have.
Yes, but thankfully I have never gotten frostbite badly. I have experienced it a bit. It feels almost like a burn on your skin because it's so cold. It's really strange.
So, what is frostbite? Frostbite is when parts of your body, like your fingers or your toes, become damaged because of being very cold.
Frostbite can be just on the surface of your skin, or it can be deep, like the freezing of your body tissue. So make sure that you always keep your body covered when in the cold.
Frostbite can happen if you are playing in the snow, or if you have an accident or are in the snow and cold for far too long. Then you also have to be careful about hypothermia.
Hypothermia happens when your body loses heat faster than it can produce heat. Hypothermia is a medical emergency.
You can say, she fell into the cold water and nearly died from hypothermia.
So stay warm and stay safe when you are in a cold place. And now you know that you don't want frostbite or to experience hypothermia.
生活在亚热带地区的人可能比较不了解，在寒冷地区里面生活的人经常要注意保暖，不然可能会出现 frostbite， 也就是冻伤或是冻疮。例如，你的手指头因为太冷有了 frostbite， 反而会出现一种灼热感，那是手指头的组织可能受到了某些伤害。不过 frostbite算经常发生的现象，如果你在雪地里玩太久，就可能出现 frostbite。之后做适当的处理就好了。但如果出现了 hypothermia 低体温症，身体开始严重的失温，那就有生命的危险，需要马上送医。这就是今天的 Info Cloud， 我们下次云端见。
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Welcome back to Studio Classroom, friends. Okay, Anne-Marie, I need an adjective.
An adjective, furry.
Oh, wow. Okay, I need a noun.
Dolphin.
Furry and dolphin. Okay, and another noun.
Sailboat.
Sailboat. All right, another noun.
Volleyball.
Volleyball. Okay, well, here's how our lesson continues, friends. There are 3 keys to staying furry. Maintain dolphins, get rid of sailboats, and prevent volleyballs.
That doesn't sound right.
Sounds like a good suggestion. No?
Well, let's find out what our article really says.
About staying furry?
Yes.
Heated clothing. There are 3 keys to staying warm: maintain heat, get rid of moisture, and prevent wind chill. Heated shoes and clothes can help. There are different types and brands of heated clothing. Some rely on battery power, while others are made using a special kind of foam. Scientist Jim Phillips created 1-inch foam clothing with an open-air pocket design. The foam pulls moisture away from the skin, and the material's air pockets retain heat. This clothing allowed Phillips to be comfortable in the Arctic.
OK， 我们来看 prevent 这个动词，意思是防止或是预防。譬如 Some believe you can prevent a cold by taking large amounts of vitamin C. 有些人相信吃大量的维他命 C 可以预防感冒。或者是 I wrapped up my glass items carefully to prevent them from getting broken when I moved from Taichung to 花莲。我从台中搬家到花莲时，很小心地把玻璃物品包好，免得破掉。Prevent 也指妨碍，例如 A neck injury prevented Josh from playing American football with his friends. Josh 的脖子受伤了，没办法和朋友去打美式足球。 最后我们来看 retain 这个动词，意思是留住或是保存。譬如 Our computers retain loads of information. 我们的电脑保存了很多资讯。或者是 Susie is not interested in science at all, so she finds it difficult to retain any information she learns in science class. Susie 对科学一点兴趣也没有，所以她发现在自然课里面学到的资讯很难记得住。再举个例句 That factory can't retain workers because the working conditions are terrible and the pay is low. 那这工厂留不住工人，因为工作环境很差，而且薪资也很低。Okay, let's get back to our teachers.
Thank you so much for helping us learn those words, Jack. The way you explain it will really help me retain their meanings. Let's read on here. There are 3 keys to staying warm. 1, maintain heat. Number 2 is get rid of moisture. And number 3 is prevent wind chill. Now, wind chill is the way the temperature and the weather feels when you're outside. The wind chill can oftentimes make it feel colder outside than it actually is.
Yeah, maybe it's 10 degrees, which is, pretty cold. But because of the wind, and we call it the wind chill factor, it feels like it's -5 degrees or something like that. So wind chill is something to take into consideration. We can't just look at the temperature and say, it's okay today. No, the wind chill is going to make a difference, right? But speaking of wind chill and being out in the cold, have you ever gotten really dry skin, Anne-Marie?
Oh, are you talking about chapped skin?
Yeah, chapped.
Yeah, that has happened to me before when the wind chill is really high. Because it's so cold and dry out and you constantly have the wind, especially whipping against your face, your skin can get really chapped. That means it gets super dry and red, sometimes a little bit itchy. It's super uncomfortable.
So you might have chapped skin. I also often hear this word with lips, right? You have chapped lips. That means your lips get really dry, and that is really painful. And that's why we have things like chapstick, okay? 护唇膏. It's not lipstick. It's what you put on your lips when they are really dry or chapped, okay?
Another word we have for chapstick would be lip balm. That's another way to say that.
That's right, okay? Chapstick, lip balm, these things are great for weather like this. Well, you just saw that picture of someone bundled up nice and warm. It made me think that adjective you gave me earlier, Anne-Marie, furry, is appropriate for our lesson too,
Oh,
right?
you think wearing furry shoes or furry clothes would help?
Yeah, like maybe a fur coat. Well, maybe fake fur coat, these days. But yeah, something really warm like that to retain your body heat. That's something we didn't talk about earlier, did we? Your body heat.
That's right. The body heat is the temperature that your body has or the warmth your body has just on its own.
That's right. So we continue here. Heated shoes and clothes can help. Now we're going to get into some different types of clothing here. Some rely on battery power while others are made using a special kind of foam. People are inventing things all the time. We say invention comes from necessity, right? Or necessity is the mother of invention. And if it's super cold outside in certain parts of the world, it's going to make you think, what can I create to help people in this kind of harsh weather?
That's right. Well, scientist Jim Phillips created 1-inch foam clothing with an open air pocket design. All right, the foam pulls moisture away from the skin, and the material's air pockets retain heat. Okay, so that's something that's really important for staying warm in cold weather, is making sure that there's no moisture near your body.
Okay, well, speaking of cold weather, where it's really cold is in the North Pole and the South Pole. Now, in the North, we call that the Arctic region. Polar bears are only found in the North Pole, not the South Pole. What is the continent at the South Pole?
Are you talking about Antarctica?
Anne-Marie, I am. And friends, today let's travel to Antarctica.
Merry Christmas, friends. Now, you may laugh when I tell you where we're going today, but there's more there to see than you think. Get ready for an expedition to Antarctica. An expedition is a journey that you take for a specific purpose. And our purpose today is to enjoy all the varieties of animals that you can see at the bottom of the world. Let's start our expedition on Tierra del Fuego, also known as the end of the world. From there, you can ride a boat nearly 1,000 kilometers through Drake's Passage, a mysterious body of water that separates South America and Antarctica. It's a 2-day journey on rough water, but it's worth it for the breathtaking views and fascinating wildlife that you'll see along the way. Once you've landed on the island, you can check out Port Lockroy, a popular stop for Antarctic explorers. You can send your friends a postcard from Antarctica's only post office and visit a museum that will teach you the history of this fascinating former military base. You can only visit half the island, though. The other half is for penguins only. Next, you have to go and explore Deception Island. This island is what remains after the collapse of a volcano, and you can hike across its black sand beaches to take in some amazing views from Neptune's window. Okay, enough sightseeing. It's time to put on our heated clothing and hike across the Antarctic continent to reach the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. While you're there, you can visit the USA's research station and take a selfie at the bottom of the world. Well, it's been fun, but it's getting kind of cold. So let's get back on our plane and start heading north. See you next time on SC Travel.
Well, friends, we hope you enjoyed that trip to Antarctica. And, you know, thinking about cold places has really got me thinking about the idea of temperature perception. Have you heard of that phrase before, Gabe?
Temperature perception. It's basically how you perceive temperature. Like it could be a certain temperature, but you might perceive it to be either hotter or colder.
Yeah, that's right. For example, I grew up in a very cold place. Ohio is very cold in the wintertime, and the cold didn't really bother me while I was living there. But after I moved to Taiwan, where it's usually very warm and even very hot sometimes, when I would go back and visit Ohio, that cold weather felt extremely cold to me and like I couldn't handle it anymore.
Well, that's interesting because whenever I go to visit a place that gets really cold in the winter, I love it. But now I wonder if it's just because I'm only going for like a week or two. I know that I'm only going to be there a short amount of time, and so it's not that cold to me.
That would make sense. For me, cold weather is very inconvenient because the roads get icy, so it's hard to drive. You have to wear so many clothes, layer after layer of clothes just to keep warm, and you can't really spend a lot of time outside. So if you're there for a long amount of time, I would say I don't really enjoy cold weather very much.
Well, friends, it does make a difference, just visiting a place that might be cold and living there long term. Well, we have more to learn about heated clothing next time right here on
Studio Classroom.